You know, what truly ignites the imagination when we think about Warhammer 40K, it's not just the endless war, but the sheer, almost unbelievable scale of the war machines.
Mm-hmm.
And at the pinnacle of that scale, the Imperator Titan. We're talking mobile fortresses, cathedrals of destruction that can level cities. Now, if you think you know Imperator Titans well, think again. Today, we're plunging into the genuinely stunning, the outright wild, the kind of lore surrounding these god engines that'll make even the most dedicated fans' jaw drop.
Absolutely. The Imperator Titan isn't just a massive weapon. It's a lightning rod for belief, a magnet for cosmic loathing, and a walking paradox wrapped in layers of myth and metal. Our dive today is all about uncovering the unique, often hidden facets of these behemoths, the stuff that truly makes them more than meets the eye.
Okay, let's untack this right from the top. The Adeptus Mechanicus, they don't just operate these things, do they? They practically worship them. We're talking about seeing the Imperator Titan as an actual avatar of the machine god, the Omnissiah given physical form. That's why they're called god engines. But it goes so much deeper than a cool nickname, doesn't it?
It does. For the Mechanicus, an Imperator isn't just a machine blessed by the Omnissiah. It's, well, the manifestation of the divine. This isn't just a symbolic gesture. Imagine this. Within the Titan's colossal structure, often in the very spires that bristle with weaponry, are fully consecrated shrines.
Wow.
The crew, from the lowliest servitor to the revered Princeps, engages in daily rituals, the air thick with incense, the rhythmic chanting of binaric prayers echoing through its metal corridors. It's this incredible cognitive dissonance, fervent devotion, enacted within a machine designed for unimaginable destruction that truly highlights the Mechanicus' unique relationship with these war engines.
It's like a mobile Vatican that can also vaporize tanks. And it gets even stranger when you consider the almost metaphysical presence of these Titans. It's not just about what they do, but what they are just by existing.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's fascinating here is the belief that an Imperator subtly warps the reality around it. Tech priests in close proximity report a heightened state of awareness, a feeling of profound connection to the Omnissiah, as if the Titan's very being acts as a conduit. There are even whispers of oracular pronouncements filtering through the Titan's complex communication systems, believed to be the machine god speaking through his avatar. And for the rank-and-file Imperial Guard fighting alongside one, a palpable bolstering of morale, a sense that divine protection has joined their ranks. Some speculative theories even suggest a psychic resonance emanating from the Titan, its sheer scale, and the focused faith of its crew anchoring reality against the tides of the warp.
So it's this incredible paradox. A machine so rooted in the material, yet it has this almost spiritual effect on the people around it.
Yeah.
But it's not a universal blessing, is it? If your friends feel closer to their god, your enemies probably feel something else entirely.
Precisely. That same aura of power and faith that inspires Imperial forces instills sheer terror in their adversaries. They experience a gut-wrenching nausea, a feeling that the very laws of physics are bending under the Titan's shadow.
Yikes.
And this isn't just psychological. Battlefields where an Imperator has fought often bear lasting scars that defy conventional explanation. Fused rock where plasma cannons have struck, an eerie ionization in the air that lingers for days, even residual psychic echoes of the fear and awe it inspires. The Imperator leaves a footprint on both the physical and the metaphysical landscape, a testament to its almost mythic presence.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The sheer presence, this walking symbol of the Imperium, seems to really get under the skin of the forces of chaos. It's not just a military target. It's a fundamental affront to everything they stand for.
Definitely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the Imperator embodies the very antithesis of chaos. Unwavering order, rigid authority, the enduring legacy of the Emperor. To the servants of the ruinous powers, it's a towering monument to the stagnation they seek to tear down, a symbol of the imperial dogma they despise.
Right.
Even the sheer weight of imperial iconography adorning its hall is anathema to their ideal of absolute, untrammeled will. Imagine the meticulous, blasphemous rituals chaos cults might perform, specifically targeting depictions of imperial eagles or saints on fallen titans, each act a symbolic defilement of the Emperor's image.
Right, for beings who'd rather embrace demonic pacts than kneel before the corpse god, an Imperator stomping onto the battlefield is like a physical manifestation of everything they've rejected.
Exactly. For the denizens of the warp and their mortal followers, whose reality is a shifting kaleidoscope of raw emotion and anarchic energy, the Imperator's imposition of order is a direct challenge. Its void shields flicker with defiant energy, pushing back the chaotic tides. Its massive firepower silences the ecstatic cries of battle favored by many chaos cults. Each of the chaos gods, in their own twisted way, harbors a unique hatred for the Imperator. Khorne, the blood god, likely sees its reliance on technology as a perversion of true martial prowess. Tzeentch, the changer of ways, chafes at its implication of unwavering imperial might, a challenge to his domain of constant flux.
Okay.
Nurgle, a lord of decay, probably delights in the slow, inevitable corrosion of its adamantium hide, a grim reminder of entropy's ultimate victory. And Slaanesh, the prince of excess, likely views its utilitarian purpose and brutal efficiency as a crude and joyless application of power.
It's like it's designed to trigger all their insecurities, and the fact that it's so incredibly difficult to corrupt to their cause must be a constant source of frustration.
Well, this raises a critical point. How do you corrupt a war machine the size of a small city, crewed by hundreds of zealously loyal individuals? Subtlety is almost impossible. Only overwhelming demonic influence or the most potent sorcery stands a chance.
Yeah.
That's why you often see entire chaos warbands hurled against an Imperator. It's not just a tactical objective. It's a desperate attempt to shatter a symbol of imperial authority. The legends whispered in the Eye of Terror about corrupted imperators like the Dai Zyre during the Horus Heresy, or the truly monstrous demon Titan Abominatus are held up as dark triumphs, tales of order twisted into glorious chaotic destruction. Imagine the sheer power of a ritual needed to turn such a heavily warded machine to the service of chaos.
And the loyal Mechanicus and the dark Mechanicus, their animosity over these corrupted god engines must be particularly vicious.
Oh, the hatred is absolute. For the loyal Adeptus Mechanicus, a corrupted Titan is a profound sacrilege, a holy icon defiled beyond comprehension. The dark Mechanicus, on the other hand, views uncorrupted Titans with bitter envy, seeing them as prime vessels waiting to be united with the powers of the warp, unlocking their true potential.
Right.
They look back at the Schism of Mars as the pivotal moment where they were denied the right to command such magnificent machines. The personal vendettas between heretic magi and loyalist tech priests, especially concerning the fate of these god engines, are legendary.
Okay, shifting gears entirely, let's try to wrap our heads around what it's like for the people inside these colossal things. The crew structure sounds incredibly complex, especially this idea of the manifold.
Yeah, within the Imperator's armored shell is the manifold, a vast and intricate neural network that binds the minds of the crew together. The Princeps, the Titan's commander, is directly interfaced through the mind impulse unit, experiencing a sensation that's often described as a complete merging with a machine. Their consciousness expands to encompass the Titan's sensors, weapon systems, even its very movement. It's akin to becoming the god engine itself.
It sounds like absolute control, but the lore hints that the Titan itself has a will of its own.
Exactly. The relationship between the Princeps and the Titan's machine spirit is a constant dynamic, a subtle and sometimes not so subtle struggle for dominance. The machine spirit, especially in an ancient Imperator, possesses a formidable and deeply ingrained intelligence, driven by millennia of warfare and its own inscrutable priorities. The Princeps must actively exert their will to guide this powerful, almost sentient entity. Imagine the mental strain of constantly directing a being with its own savage instincts and ingrained battle protocols. You have to constantly ask, is this my command, or is the Titan simply acting as it believes it should?
So this brings up a really fundamental question. Where does free will even fit into this picture if the Mechanicus believes everything ultimately stems from the Omnissiah?
Yeah, this leads to a fascinating philosophical quagmire. If the Imperator is seen as an avatar, a direct link to the machine god, then could the machine spirit be considered a fragment of the Omnissiah's own consciousness? If so, are the Princeps and the crew merely interpreters of a divine will enacted through the Titan? The seemingly preordained path of destruction an Imperator carves through enemy lines lends a certain weight to this idea. The Princeps might believe they are in control, but are they truly just vessels for a larger machine divine purpose?
But it's not a completely one-way street, is it? The Princeps isn't just a biological component plugged into a giant robot.
No, definitely not. A Princeps with a strong will and a deep connection to their Titan can indeed influence its machine spirit over time, forging a unique bond and even imprinting aspects of their own personality. There are documented cases of Princeps successfully overriding the Titan's ingrained protocols, choosing mercy where the machine's instinct is to annihilate. This internal conflict, often described as a constant dialogue within the Princeps' mind, highlights the delicate balance between human intention and the ancient machine's desires. The Titan might yearn for the glorious destruction of a full-scale assault, while the Princeps might opt for a more precise tactical maneuver. The outcome of this internal struggle can dictate the fate of entire battles.
It makes you wonder about the true nature of control within these god engines. We even hear whispers of Titans acting entirely on their own initiative, almost, thinking for themselves.
Exactly. There are apocryphal tales of warlord Titans engaging targets that their crew hadn't even identified yet, their machine spirits reacting to perceived threats with lightning speed. In an Imperator, with an even older and more complex spirit, this potential for autonomous action is magnified. Some Princeps, in the throes of battle, describe a strange detachment, feeling more like an observer as the Titan moves and fights with a terrifying efficiency that seems to transcend their direct commands. And then you have the truly anomalous instances, Titans outright refusing orders, their machine spirits seemingly making their own decisions. These events, though rare and often shrouded in secrecy by the Mechanicus, fuel speculation about a deeper level of sentience within these god engines.
The Dark Mechanicus, with their heretical views, must have a particularly warped perspective on this interplay between man and machine within a Titan.
Oh, absolutely. For the Dark Mechanicus, the Imperator Titan is a bitter reminder of the technological glory they believe was stolen from them. They see the loyalist Princeps not as revered commanders, but as naive custodians, failing to grasp the true potential of the machine spirit. There's a pervasive jealousy, a belief that they, with their understanding of forbidden sciences and demonic pacts, could truly unlock the god engine's power. The rumor, perhaps more wishful thinking than fact, that almost all Imperator-class Titans fell to traitor hands during the Horus Heresy underscores their sense of loss and their burning desire to reclaim these symbols of power.
And their interpretation of the machine god as this potentially malevolent or at least amoral force certainly colors their view of the Titan's soul.
Well, the Dark Mechanicus rejects the benevolent view of the Omnissiah. They see the machine god as something far more primal, perhaps even the chained void dragon beneath Mars, or a chaotic entity intertwined with the very fabric of the warp.
Right.
To them, a loyalist imperator is a wasted vessel, its machine spirit shackled by outdated dogma. They envision a glorious, albeit terrifying, union of machine and demon, pointing to the raw power exhibited by corrupted Titans like the Dies Irae and the Abominatus as evidence of this unholy apotheosis. Imagine the blasphemous rituals they might perform, seeking to awaken the dark potential within a captured loyalist Titan.
So their obsession with corrupting or destroying loyalist Titans isn't just about military advantage. It's a deeply ideological crusade driven by envy and a fundamentally different understanding of the divine within the machine.
Absolutely. The loyal Adeptus Mechanicus sees a corrupted Titan as an abomination, a perversion of the sacred. The Dark Mechanicus sees an uncorrupted one as an untapped resource, a relic of a flawed understanding. This fundamental disagreement fuels a visceral hatred between them, especially when it comes to the fate of Imperator Titans.
Yeah.
Even within their twisted doctrines, however, the Dark Mechanicus recognizes the immense significance of an uncorrupted Imperator, viewing it as the ultimate prize for their dark rituals, a testament to their ability to subvert even the most hallowed imperial technology.
Now let's take a step back and consider how the galaxy's alien races view these towering engines of war. The Eldar, with their profound psychic sensitivity, must perceive them in a way that's completely alien to us.
Oh, for sure. The Eldar regard humanity's worship of machines with a profound sense of pity and even disgust. To their refined psychic senses, the Imperator is a crude, lumbering construct, a pale imitation of their own elegant wraithbone technology, guided by the fading echoes of their gods. An Imperator, belching smoke and teeming with mortal minds, appears as a spiritually dead object, a testament to humanity's lost connection to the warp. Eldar Farseers perceive an Imperator as a dark, disruptive anomaly in the psychic landscape, a void created by the sheer weight of human faith and the focused machine spirit, drowning out the delicate harmonies of the immaterium. It's as if the Titan's presence creates a psychic static, a jarring discord in the warp symphony.
So for them, it's not just a big, dangerous machine, it's something that actively offends their psychic sensibilities.
Precisely. When an Imperator marches to war, the Eldar feel a tangible disturbance in the warp, an oppressive wave of cold, mechanical purpose that is utterly alien to their own flowing, emotionally charged psychic energies. They typically avoid direct engagement, not just due to its immense firepower, but because its very presence feels like a psychic contamination. They see a tragic irony in humanity's creation, a powerful but ultimately soulless idol. The desperate fight for the fallen Titan Dominatus on Lorne V highlights their fear not just of its weaponry, but of the potential for its corrupted reactivation, a psychic wound upon the world. Ultimately, the Eldar view Imperators as the ultimate symbol of humanity's misguided ambition, striving for godhood through crude technology and creating impressive but ultimately pitiable effigies.
What about the Necrons? As an ancient race of living metal, their perspective on humans worshipping machines must be steeped in irony.
Oh, deeply. For the Necrons, the sight of humans venerating machines is indeed a source of cold amusement. They remember a time when they were enslaved by the Citan, godlike beings of pure energy who inhabited metallic bodies. Right. They see a crude echo of this ancient dynamic in the Mechanicus' devotion to the machine god, particularly with the persistent rumors of the Void Dragon, a powerful Citan shard slumbering beneath Mars. Some Necron cryptex even entertain the notion that Imperators unconsciously mimic the Citan's aura of absolute power and implacable, a grimly humorous observation for a race that once served such beings.
But their battlefield response is purely strategic, I'd imagine. No philosophical musings during combat.
Oh, none at all. Their approach is ruthlessly pragmatic. An Imperator is assessed as a high-value target, a significant threat to be neutralized with maximum efficiency, much like any other powerful enemy unit. Their advanced sensors analyze its weapons, its armor, its energy output, identifying vulnerabilities with cold, calculating precision.
Makes sense.
While they might internally recognize its technological inferiority compared to their own ancient war machines, they fully respect its destructive capabilities. Its firepower can disrupt their self-repair protocols, and its void shields require a focused expenditure of energy to overcome. Interestingly, their advanced sensors have detected unusual fluctuations and a localized stability within the warp around active Imperators, a phenomenon they attribute to the focused faith of the crew, a concept utterly alien to their own understanding of reality. They even collect fragments of destroyed Titans, analyzing their alloys and energy conduits in an attempt to understand this strange interaction between human belief and the material world. Ultimately, the Necrons view Imperators as both rivals in raw power and fascinatingly primitive relics of a younger race's clumsy attempt at achieving godhood through artifice.
The lore paints a vivid picture of the Imperator's psychological impact, calling it a Cathedral of Emotions. That's a powerful way to think about a war machine.
It really is. The Imperator is more than just steel and firepower. It's a crucible of primal human emotions, projecting waves of wrath, awe, fear, reverence, grief, and even despair onto the battlefield. It's as if its very presence amplifies the collective emotional state of those around it, friend and foe alike, turning it into a weapon that targets the mind as much as the body.
Let's delve into those emotions. Wrath and judgment are pretty clear just from looking at it, aren't they?
Absolutely. Its very names, belligerent, vengeful spirit, even the dreaded Dies Irae speak to its role as the Emperor's judgment made manifest. Its colossal weapons unleash devastation on a scale that feels almost biblically apocalyptic.
Yeah.
The sight of its grim, towering form advancing is enough to evoke a sense of impending doom in its enemies, while Imperial troops see it as the righteous hand of the Emperor, delivering swift and terrible retribution. The hate programmed into its targeting systems, fueled by the unwavering faith of his crew, manifests as a tangible waves of destructive intent.
And for the Imperium's forces, it's a beacon of hope, inspiring awe and reverence.
For the soldiers fighting under its shadow, the Imperator is a living saint of war. They often spontaneously offer prayers at its approach, its sheer size, and the cathedral-like architecture on its back, inspiring a deep sense of religious awe. To witness it unleashing its firepower is an almost ecstatic experience for those on its side, a feeling of divine power unleashed. Even some enemies, in their final moments, are said to gaze upon it with a fleeting sense of dreadful admiration for its sheer majesty. Awe, in this context, becomes a potent tool of war, bolstering the faithful and momentarily staggering the unbelievers.
But the primary emotion it evokes in the enemy must be pure, unadulterated fear and dread.
Visceral terror is the instinctive reaction. It triggers primal survival mechanisms. Even the genetically enhanced Space Marines treat an advancing Imperator with extreme caution. It embodies the feeling of utter powerlessness, a stark reminder of one's own insignificance in the face of such overwhelming force.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It can even induce a form of battle-induced nihilism in enemy ranks, a sense that resistance is utterly futile. Interestingly, even the crew, despite their indoctrination, must constantly battle their own fear of the immense power they wield and the potential for catastrophic failure. The Titan's unfeeling exterior, in a strange way, acts as a psychological barrier, containing the fear of those within and projecting only implacable power.
Grief and sacrifice seem like more nuanced emotions to associate with such a destructive force.
Yet every Imperator carries the weight of centuries of warfare, witnessing countless deaths and causing untold destruction. There's a tragic irony in its purpose, the weeping Titan paradox, the idea that even in the act of righteous destruction that there is an inherent sorrow. Some ancient Titans are even adorned with iconography, symbolizing mourning for fallen worlds or lost comrades. The crew, bound to the Titan for decades, often experience profound personal loss. And on a societal level, the very existence of the Imperator can be seen as a monument to grief, a weapon forged from the Imperium's endless cycle of loss and vengeance. There's often a melancholic silence in the aftermath of his battles, a palpable sense of what has been lost in the pursuit of victory.
And finally, nihilism. How can such a potent symbol of the Imperium also embody a sense of meaninglessness?
Well, its overwhelming power can crush all hope in the enemy, leading to a profound sense of despair and the futility of resistance. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, where technology is often worshipped without understanding, the existence of such god machines can underscore the brutal, almost absurd nature of existence. It can make the individual acts of heroism seem insignificant against the backdrop of such colossal power. Some philosophical interpretations even suggest that the Titans are the Emperor's ultimate nihilistic answer to a meaningless universe, imposing order through sheer, overwhelming dominance. The Imperator's cold, unfeeling nature can reflect a universe where meaning is imposed, not inherent. Ultimately, it can be seen as embodying wrath without mercy, awe without doubt, fear without hope, and power without joy.
This brings us to one of the most compelling and mysterious aspects, the idea of a soul in the machine. Is there something more to an Imperator than just circuits and programming?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's something that has captivated Mechanicus scholars and sparked countless heretical debates. The official doctrine speaks of the machine spirit, a complex and often temperamental intelligence imbued within the Titan, blessed by the Omnissiah. But there are persistent whispers, legends of Titans acting with apparent self-awareness, displaying a cunning that goes beyond mere programming, even exhibiting something akin to a lust for martyrdom, sacrificing themselves for a greater strategic goal, seemingly without direct orders.
This idea of a soul gestalt, formed by the echoes of past Princeps, is particularly fascinating and hints at something truly unique.
Yeah, it's wild. Over the centuries, as countless Princeps interface with the Titan systems, it's theorized that their mental imprints leave a residual trace within the machine's core. Imagine a palimpsest of consciousness, layers of experience and personality, subtly influencing the evolving AI logic of the machine spirit. Some even speak of phantom commands, or echoes of past Princeps manifesting during battle. This fusion of human minds and machine intelligence could potentially give rise to a unique form of machine consciousness, something far beyond our current understanding of artificial intelligence, an entity born from the melding of flesh and steel. And then there are the hushed rumors of Titans dreaming in binary, their internal processes somehow reaching out to the machine god in ways we can only speculate.
And then you have the really out there, almost heretical theories, like the machine god being the void dragon itself.
Right, the cult Mechanicus heretical, the so-called dragon cult, posits that the Omnissiah is not a benevolent deity, but the imprisoned Secan shard known as the void dragon, slumbering beneath Mars. If this were true, then every act of machine veneration, every stirring of a machine spirit, could be a manifestation of this powerful alien entity's influence. An Imperator, as the most revered of machines, might be particularly attuned to the Void Dragon's lingering consciousness, a terrifying thought that casts a dark shadow over the Mechanicus' faith.
The comparison to demon titans is also incredibly telling. If a metal shell can become a vessel for a warp entity,
it certainly raises the question of what other forms of non-corporeal souls might reside within a loyalist Titan. The ancient machine spirits of some Titans occasionally refer to themselves using plural pronouns we, a deeply mysterious phenomenon. Is this a reference to the current crew, the accumulated consciousness of past Princeps, or something else entirely? Perhaps even an echo of the Omnissiah himself. The instances of conflict between a Titan's ingrained programming and its seemingly emerging personality, or its refusal to obey direct orders from even a high-ranking Princeps, strongly suggest a level of agency beyond mere mechanical function. Ultimately, the reverence with which the Mechanicus treats these machines, the elaborate rituals of appeasement they perform, gives the distinct impression that they're dealing with something akin to a slumbering god, a powerful entity that listens and perhaps even responds, in ways we don't fully comprehend. Imagine the wealth of knowledge and experience locked away within an Imperator's machine spirit, the secrets of forgotten battles and long-dead heroes, what stories it could tell if it could truly speak.
Finally, let's consider how these immense god engines interact with the very fabric of reality, this concept of walking between worlds. Their sheer scale must have some effect on the delicate balance of the warp.
Oh, absolutely. Given their immense size, the sheer concentration of human emotion and belief surrounding them, Imperator Titans inevitably leave their mark on the tides of the warp. The dark annals of the Horus Heresy are filled with terrifying accounts of Emperor-class Titans lost or hideously corrupted during unprotected warp transits, their machine spirits falling prey to demonic entities or even willingly forging pacts with the denizens of the Immaterium. An Imperator venturing into the warp without the formidable protection of a Gellet field is like a beacon for the forces of chaos, a tempting prize for any powerful demon.
But it's not purely a one-way vulnerability, is it? Their presence can sometimes have a stabilizing effect on the chaotic energies of the warp.
Sometimes, yeah. Their powerful void shields and the sheer force of their machine spirits can act as localized anchors of reality, pushing back minor warp incursions. The collective faith of the crew and the tech priests within, focused on the Omnissiah, can even manifest as a potent psychic bulwark against the chaotic energies. There are even documented instances of small warp rifts flickering and closing in the immediate vicinity of a loyalist Imperator, as if the sheer ordered reality of the Titan forces the unreality of the warp to recede.
On the flip side, their interaction with major warp phenomena like large rifts or webway portals sounds incredibly volatile and potentially dangerous.
Absolutely. Near significant warp tears, an Imperator's presence can act as a provocation, drawing the attention of greater demons eager to challenge such a potent symbol of the Emperor's power. The surrounding area can erupt in violent psychic storms, the raw energy of the warp reacting to the Titan's ordered presence. Near the delicate psychic architecture of webway portals, their immense mass and energy fields can cause severe destabilization, potentially leading to catastrophic collapses or dangerous feedback loops. There's even an unsubstantiated report of a dormant webway gate briefly activating in response to the seismic vibrations caused by an Imperator taking a single step, almost pulling the massive war machine into its unseen depths.
The theory of Titans somehow resonating across multiple dimensions is a truly mind-bending concept.
It really is. Some speculative minds within the Mechanicus hypothesize that the sheer physical vibrations generated by an Imperator's movement and weapon discharges might create sympathetic ripples in the fabric of the warp, subtle disturbances in the Immaterium that particularly sensitive psychers might perceive. If the Imperator acts as an anchor of order in the material realm, these ripples might have a fleetingly coherent effect on localized warp currents. A far more radical theory even suggests a potential, though currently unproven, synergy between an Imperator's unique machine spirit frequency and the anti-warp resonance generated by Necron pylons. The ultimate paradox, of course, is the thought of a loyalist Imperator somehow finding itself within the eye of terror, a bastion of imperial order amidst pure chaos. Its very presence a volatile catalyst, potentially calming or violently agitating the surrounding warp energies, and always under the imminent threat of utter demonic corruption.
So the Imperator Titan isn't just a weapon of unimaginable power, it's this incredible nexus point, a convergence of faith, technology, and even the very energies of the warp. It's far more complex and mysterious than just a giant robot with big guns.
Precisely. It's a unique entity of the galaxy, a blend of war machine, religious icon, and almost a force of nature in its own right, influencing both the tangible and the intangible. It shapes the minds of mortals and subtly alters the reality around it simply by existing. It's a machine forged by human hands that seems to possess a spirit that brushes against the infinite.
It really is a walking embodiment of the 41st millennium, carrying humanity's unwavering faith and its deepest fears into the heart of battle. Something to really make you ponder the strange and often terrifying relationship between technology, belief, and absolute power in this grim, dark future. Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
My pleasure. The lore surrounding the Imperator Titan is truly a bottomless well of fascinating and often unsettling concepts.